Hi, I'm Andrew Wallace, and welcome to the We've Got a Problem podcast, where each week we explore inspiring stories of struggle, success, and solutions to prevalent problems and how our guests have turned a problem into an opportunity. This week I'm joined by Sandy Rutherford, a success mindset coach, international speaker, and best-selling author whose new book, Navigating the High Seas to Success, an 8-step charted course to extraordinary achievement, was released this past October. Sandy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I'm delighted to be here.
I'm glad to have you. So, every time we have a coach on the show, the background, the way that people came into their own coaching practice is always different, and I'm always curious for how people got where they are. What's your background? What brought you here?
Well, my background is that I've had many lives.
Yes.
In my first, as most of us have nowadays, but in my first life, I was a physio, very highly sought after, very successful physiotherapist. But as happens with many of us, things change and we want to move on to something new. So I went back for an MBA and I went into corporate, and I was very successful in multinational companies and corporate leadership. And that was all lovely. So success came easily to me without me really trying to think about how do I get real success going here.
Yeah.
And then one of my children developed some health issues, so I decided, it took no effort whatsoever to make the decision. I need to leave corporate. I want to be home-based, flexible, available. So
Sure.
I started on the entrepreneurial side. And I expected the same kinds of successes to come to me as I had so easily experienced prior.
Oh.
And that did not happen.
Yeah.
It was a frustrating experience. And, it's confounding when you're used to success. It's come easily. You never have to think about how do I be successful. And now it's not happening. It's like, what? Wait, what's going on?
Right.
And so many people and all the clients I work with, we're all in the same position. We all want to be more, to do more, to have more, because that is the condition of the human spirit. And to snuff that out is not a good thing.
Right.
Because it's in us all. And the longer that success eludes you, the more damaging it is to your self-image. You start to doubt yourself. Maybe I'm not an entrepreneur. Maybe I'm not cut out for this kind of journey.
Yep.
And so for me, as an entrepreneur, it's up to you. So I thought, okay, I better work on me. So that's when I'd always been into personal development, but that's when I went into it big time and started to follow Bob Proctor, Darren Hardy, John Maxwell, a little bit of Tony Robbins. Loved the stuff. So I invested in the stuff, loved it, thought absolutely it's going to work because, so as many of us do when we're in personal development, it makes so much sense. You go, oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to start doing things this way or that way. And when you're trying to navigate it on your own, which I was doing, right? I popped on webinars and bought the books and thought I could make sense of it. I made some gains, to be sure, but not the breakthroughs that I was really looking for, that world-class personal development promises you. And that, again, got more and more frustrating.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I immersed into a success program of Bob Proctor's that is by far the best success program out there. It's a step-by-step. And if you don't know Bob Proctor, he's was considered the top success and prosperity teacher in the world. He was in the movie The Secret and in Think and Grow Rich. So when I got immersed into that, how success works, because I didn't know success worked a certain way, and importantly, I was provided the support, guidance, and accountability.
Yes.
Everything began to change. Everything started to line up. And success then started to come to me easily, which is when I became one of the top tier coaches working with Bob, and I was on stage with Bob Proctor and all that good thing. So now I have a successful global coaching practice, and I got into releasing my first book. But that's my story. Many of us have the same, I'm successful here, I switch environments, why am I not successful in this new environment?
Well, yes, and it's so frustrating when you have had success in the past, like you said. I mean, I'm sure many of my listeners out there have known somebody or are personally in that situation where things have gone great. You haven't had to work, and you kind of think, let's not beat around the bush here. You kind of think you're a little bit better than other people at this success thing. You're like, I got it. And of course, that perhaps irrational belief may bring you into this crushing reality when you switch and it doesn't come to you nearly as easily. Even kids who are in private schools and things like that, who have who've been given the extra attention automatically and found all these things that they've had great teachers. They've been around smart people, and they think, I'm smarter than everybody else. So they get out into the world, and even just the regular world of academia, or their first job or what have you, and find, oh, no. You can't
sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, it's like when I got my MBA.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people, fortunately, I wasn't this way, but so many people get their MBA and think, I'm it, man.
Right.
Everybody's going to want me. They're going to pay me the big bucks.
Right.
It's like, no, it's a degree. And sure it adds, but it's not your card.
I mean, I would love to get an MBA because it sounds like fun. I like all that stuff. I loved the Harvard Business School cases and all the stuff and analyzing why bad decisions got made. Why do you think I'm making a show called We've Got a Problem? But how did we get into this mess? What's the solution? All those kinds of things.
Right.
It sounds like fun, but I don't know if it would help me at all in my career as currently set up. It would probably be a tremendous waste of money from that perspective. But a lot of people go because they believe you get an MBA and you're going to walk out of here hireable. That's going to fix it. That's going to fix the problem that you've had. Right. And I think we're all looking for quick fixes, and that's why a lot of other kind of coach stuff, the pop psychology, the people are looking for quick fixes, and it's important to know there's a process that you're going to follow, that it's going to take some time, that you're going to have to unpack some things, that it might be related to your self-image. So you've got a process for going at success and steps to take. I believe you lay it out in your book, but give us some taste of this stuff.
Absolutely. And to your point about quick fixes, I like to say there are no quick fixes, but there are lots of quick wins.
Yes.
And as you get into this win column and you start this momentum, then the fix starts coming at you, but there's no quick fixes.
Right.
Lots of quick wins, though.
So how can we be successful? What do we need to do? Tell us everything. I'm ready to buy in. I'll send you $19.95 for the first course. What's the...
Love it. Okay. Well, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about this, because I'm very excited about the launch. It became an Amazon bestseller in a couple of key categories. One is motivation, and the other one is self-image, which is a big one.
Yep.
Sorry, not self-image, self-help, which is a big one. So yeah, what I wanted to do with all my experiences myself, my own personal journey, and with all of my clients over the years, is and all the personal development. And there's a ton of great stuff out there, but it can be overwhelming.
Yes.
Like, who do you go to? Is there a difference between Tony Robbins and Bob and Joe Dispenza? But which one? They've kind of got different angles. Should I start with? It can be very overwhelming. Yep. And I wrote down, I got it. Yes, we can get our MBA and think, I got it. Or we can do some of the personal development and think, no, I got it now. It's like, no, you don't got it. We actually need way more help than we think we do. But what kind of help makes sense? Because again, it can be quite overwhelming with all the great stuff out there.
Yes.
So what I wanted to do in my book is pull together all of the key concepts that paves the road for success and put them in the right order. Because success is a process. In fact, it's an exact science. There are certain things you've got to do in a certain order. And if I ask people, I can ask a room of 1,000, how many people know how success works? Like, what are the steps for success? Some people might put their hands up. And if I say, so what's the right order? Most hands will go down. I don't think any hands stay up because we're not taught it. Andrew, if we were taught these in high school, we'd all be leading very different lives, right?
Right.
So I have created this 8-step charted course, is what I found, and why it's called Navigating the High Seas, which is a capital C, not SEA, ocean kind of thing. Each of these concepts actually begins with the letter C. So, and I've laid it out in a certain order so that I taught. And by the way, the book is fun. It's high vibe kind of book. It's inspirational, but it's got some really hard hitting concepts that I've pulled together and put it all in one place to lay it out for you. And each of the chapters. So the first one, for example, is on connection, and its subtitle is Little Me versus Big Me. When we're in big me, when we feel connected to our inner self, our authentic self, our inner voice, whatever you want to call that, and we understand there's way more beyond us. Like we're
Right.
not it. There's a lot beyond us in this universe. We're in big me, and that's
Right.
so empowering. It's an amazing vibe. But most people are sitting in little me,
Right.
more like a victim mode.
Yep.
And so the first thing is connection. And so the second chapter is on creation. I mean, in the subtitles, you are the mental architect of your own destiny.
Yes.
And every one of us is a creator. We're not the creator, but we are
Right.
endowed
Right. Well, that's
with.
I will stop you there for just a second.
Sure.
Somebody, and I wish I could remember whose great quote it was, right? But there's the fundamental thing in faith that you have to reconcile is that there is a God and it is not me. So the fact that we're looking out to the world and both trying to, again, connect with everything that's out there, there's much more than just what's inside of us and all that stuff that's out there, is a huge concept and an amazing one to think about when you realize that most of us get our value system, and I talk about this all the time, but most of us get our value system from other people and never really think about what is inside, what does matter to us and how we want to go about it. But there is a strong sense of connectedness, of creativity, of all these things that come together that we're actually bigger than ourselves and
Way bigger.
and can take advantage of resources that we personally don't singularly have access to, which is huge.
Absolutely.
Yes. Go on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I love it. I love your comment. I am not God, but God is in me.
Right.
So if God is creator, then I have creativity in me.
Yes.
So we are all creative. So we need to, so I've had many clients go, yeah, but I'm not all that creative. I'm not an artist, and I'm not a this. No, stop. It has nothing to do with you can physically paint or write or whatever. There is creative. We are creative beings. So to tap into that creativity and start really understanding how to tap into your own creativity to create new paths forward is the second chapter in the book. Now, each of the chapters, by the way, has lots of quotes that are relevant to the concept being discussed. And some of the quotes you'll for sure recognize, others you won't. There's a lot of neat stuff in there. And each chapter ends with a quick assessment to gauge where you are with respect to that concept. It's not a scientific assessment. It's just to quickly gauge your awareness of where you are on that concept. And an exercise to work on getting better at that particular concept. So the third chapter is on clarity of desire. And this is a big one because all success begins with desire. I mean, Napoleon Hill's masterpiece, Think and Grow Rich, First chapter, desire. All of them talk about the fact that we have to get that clarity about what success means to us. And again, I have many clients that go, well, I'd like to be financially healthy. I said, that's not clear enough. I want that too. We all want that. That's a condition. What does that mean, though? Does that mean 5,000 a month, 50,000 a month, 500,000 a month? Doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong, but you got to get clear. But clarity of desire also brings in the concept of being emotionally involved.
Yes.
With your goal. Now, here's the rub. Most people think they're emotionally involved.
Yep.
But they're not.
Yep.
They're what I call being intellectually enamored with their goal.
Yes.
Which is what happened to me. That was part of the reason I was struggling as an entrepreneur. I thought I had my goal clear and I was all emotionally involved. I wasn't emotionally jazzed by it. I was intellectually enamored with it.
Sure.
Huge difference.
Yeah, but that's like being intellectually engaged with a romantic partner. That just doesn't work. Like,
no.
Oh yeah, well wait, I'm intrigued by the idea of this person and the fact that they're nice and all these things. But, man, woman, whatever, you look at this person and you go, yeah, but I'm not emotionally engaged. I'm not.
Right. Where's the emotion?
Yeah, where's the emotion in this? There's a great interplay from news radio where I can't remember the name of the actor right now, but he goes in and he goes, Sally, let's get married. I'm a businessman. You're a businesswoman. And they just negotiate on it. Start talking about,
Oh, that'll work.
3 kids. She goes, 2. He goes, done. And they just keep going through the thing. And it's like, summer's here. No, when Is that a deal breaker for you? Yep. Well, guess we tried. Just go on and through it. And of course you can't do it that way. That's absolutely absurd, but that's what we try to do with some of our goals.
Absolutely.
Is just be intellectually engaged with it. Yes.
Yeah, and for setting up a business or going after switching careers into a new industry or whatever, we think intellectually we work it out in our head. Okay, if I did this, then I could probably do this, and so we've laid it all out, and it makes good sense.
Right.
But yeah, and you know what? All of the greats in this personal development arena will tell you the feeling is the secret. And in fact, there's a great book by Neville Goddard called "Feeling is the Secret," and it is the secret sauce. If you're not emotionally engaged with your goal,
Right.
good luck with it.
Right.
You just won't get where you want to get to, where you think you want to get to.
Yep.
So the fourth chapter is on conditioning, and this is a big one because, and you talked about values. Our values are handed to us; they're given to us. Well, values is the same thing as saying conditioning, right? Is whatever you have value around, you're conditioned to value things that way. And conditioning really is incorporating self-image and belief systems, and that is inherited. So our values, our self-image, and our beliefs is all part of our conditioning, which just sits at the subconscious level. And you can only go as far as that conditioning allows.
Right.
And that conditioning, most of the time, is not in alignment with dream goal success. It's in alignment with everything you've created thus far.
Yep.
So you have to start to understand, how do I get my conditioning, my self-image and belief system shifted over to be in alignment with the kind of success I'm looking for? And then when that starts to happen, feel that acceleration coming.
Yes.
In, right?
Yes. Well, that gets into the concept of mindset and all that, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit more. But yes.
Yeah, that is the mindset piece.
Yeah.
Because your subconscious conditioning is your mindset, is how you view the world and yourself. And that conditioning isn't yours.
Right.
It's
from the past. It's a gift from the past.
And it's usually put there by well-intentioned people.
Sure, of
parents,
course.
teachers, coaches, etc. But it's yours to change.
Right. Yes, and that's, I think, again, the power concept that it's actually within your control, and that's, I think, one of the big depression researchers said the big commonality was the way that people saw an external locus of control on their happiness, their life, whatever it was that they were obsessing over, that they weren't in control of it, and that they couldn't change their circumstances and were kind of just victims. And not to say that depression isn't a disease or anything like that, but rather that it's an observation of how those kinds of things come down, and remembering that you are in control. That there's so much that's part of you, and that a lot of what we have are false beliefs put there by other people, well-intentioned, sure. But it's like saying that the world is flat and believing that your entire life. And please, Sandy, don't tell me that you're a flat earther. But
no.
But if you need to be able to continue to take in new information and assimilate that information into your view of reality. But so often those beliefs, and I'm not just talking about false beliefs, but in general, the things that we hold true and dear, our value systems, all those things oftentimes get established, and then we don't challenge them. We just accept them as gospel. Right. So remembering, first of all, that you can change those things. Yes. And that's, I suppose, I love the concept of mindset. So I don't want to get, I'm interrupting you halfway through your summary here, but
that's all right.
How do we focus on mindset? How do we change our mindset? How do we start that process of, altering our mindset to a success mindset, a growth mindset, instead of the fixed one.
Right. So, and that's switching from what's called a poverty mindset to an abundance mindset. Yeah, it's all the same thing, and it is a process, and it all begins with awareness, right? And that's where you're only aware of what you're aware of right now, right? It's hard to become more aware all of a sudden, right?
Right.
So that's where we do need way more help than we think we do to get that perspective. Somebody goes, do you realize this is what's going on? Or even to understand, how do I begin to understand what some of my beliefs are?
Yeah.
And there's a process for that. I mean, I take clients through that all the time. And that's just something that we work on in terms of your self-image, What is it about your self-image that you believe right now? Doesn't matter why you're there. I mean, it's kind of fun sometimes to go, oh, I see where that one came from. My uncle used to say that or whatever all the time. But it doesn't matter from our perspective. It doesn't matter how or why you got there. The key is to understand, here's what my beliefs are right now.
Yes.
And all you have to do to take a look at your self-image and beliefs is take a look at your results around you, because your results are a reflection of your mindset, of your beliefs. They are.
Yeah. But just look around and you go, huh, this isn't working for me.
Yeah. So what is, and I celebrate that. I've had clients say exactly, okay, this isn't working for me. It's like, great. That's awareness kicking in and going, I want something different.
Yep.
This isn't working for me. So what is it I'm thinking and thinking of and dwelling on? And you mentioned depression and setting aside clinical depression.
Sure.
But, that's not my area of expertise. But a lot of us can get depressed, right?
Yes.
Relative to feeling great about things. And that's because we become what we think, right? We're spinning something negatively. Like to give an example, I talk about the what if vortex. So I've launched my business, I've left a job, launched my business, and then I start to go, oh, what if this doesn't work? What if this is a totally wrong decision? What if I don't make enough money? Like all of it, we're spinning. Right. And I can teach, I work with clients immediately to go, okay, wait, hang on. Take those same things and spin them use the law of polarity, spin the exact opposite. What if this really works? What if it's the greatest decision ever? What if I get lots of money coming in? Now, neither one of those is reality. It's the mind spinning it.
Right.
And to your great earlier point, Andrew, we have choice here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So
if they're both not reality, it's just us spinning, why don't we choose the positive spin?
Yes.
But it takes awareness first. Okay, what am I dwelling on? Or what am I spinning negatively? What am I believing about myself that's causing me to go on the negative side? And once you start to become aware, then you can start the action of replacing that negative narrative going on with a positive narrative.
Yes, and that is a skill.
It is. Well, it takes time, right? Yeah. There's no quick fix.
Right. But that's so often, again, quick fixes, right? We get into this belief, if I just do this, then everything will be fixed. Then I'll be on the right track. If I just make this decision, I'm tipping the scales and now I'm upward. But like nobody was great at shooting hoops the first time they went out onto the basketball court, or was perfect at doing any possible thing you could think of. There's an acclimation period. There's a period where you have to get better, where you have to practice, where you have to get your reps in, and changing your mindset, just changing your thinking, just shifting that thing, having that choice, and getting into the habit of reframing that way is a skill.
I mean, everything takes repetition. Everything. Playing the piano, cooking, everything takes repetition. Right. Yeah,
for sure. For sure. So, all right. So I've interrupted you in the middle of summarizing the chapters. Please continue.
But that's the best way to do it. We've got a great conversation going. All right. So the fifth chapter is on commitment. Results or excuses you choose is the subtitle of that. We too often, me included, lean on excuses.
Yep.
And why do we lean on excuses? Well, it relates back, and this is why there's an order. If you are not clear about your goal, you'll find excuses. Because commit to what? I'm just not clear enough. If you're crystal clear, but emotionally you're going, then you'll find excuses because emotionally you're,
Right. Yep.
So those two have to come into play first before you're going to commit. And you can be crystal clear and emotionally jazzed to no end, but your self-image is going, I don't like yeah, good luck committing in that circumstance.
Yeah.
So when those, I actually call that a success triad. Clarity, desire, self-image, and commitment are always in play. That's your high-level success formula right there. They're always in play. And when you get clarity, desire, and self-image starting to line up, you're going to be willing to lean in and commit to much higher degrees.
Yes.
And without commitment, you can't expect things to happen, right? So that's the fifth chapter. The sixth chapter is on consistency. Your point about habits, you got to create and repetition, right? We've got to be consistent and persist. I talk about persistence in the chapter as well, because persistence, which is, Napoleon Hill has a whole chapter again in Think and Grow Rich on persistence. It's there for a reason, because the highly successful people out there, whether it's in your very local community or on a grand scale and of a global order, successful people, they are persistent in going after what they want.
Right.
And you're going to be more persistent again if you are clear and really excited about it.
Right.
Right. So that's important there.
Well, and consistency, persistence, those kinds of things. I see that evidence is all around us. That there's a quick way to see, how do you write a book? A couple of pages a day. How do you? I mean, right? It's generally
right.
Most people don't sit down and write a screenplay, write a movie, which is my main business, in a weekend. It is possible.
Right.
It is not advised,
right.
but but it is possible. But most people don't do it because it really is important, not that you write one or that you do it once and it's done. You actually do have to come back to it every day for a period of time and write it. So many people start writing something and never finish because they're not consistent. They don't make it a habit. They don't make it part of getting your pages in. All around, how do you build a building? You guys come in every day, men and women. I use guys in the wide term here, but people come in every day and put up a wall, put up a stud, pour the concrete, do all this stuff. It's all around you, and yet we like to look at social media personalities and everybody else and assume they came out fully formed and ready to do all that thing, and just one day it happened. Right. It was just around there. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And in this day and age of so much distraction, we're all really busy people. It's a harder environment in which to be consistent because we get distracted from that focus.
Yes. And there are lots of things trying to pull our attention as a business.
Absolutely.
Trying to pull it away. Yes,
absolutely.
All right, consistency. Let's get consistent. What's next?
Absolutely. So the seventh one is collaboration. Actually, it's 2 C's: collaboration and community. Okay. And that is, our motto at Inspired Destinies is together we thrive because, and I've said it a couple of times already here, we need way more support than we think we do. It's really hard. I'm sure we've all, your listeners, all of us have been in a situation where we're feeling really positive or, have done some personal development stuff, for example, and we're on a different level, but we're around people that are down at a lower level frequency. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they're worse people. It has nothing to do with being good or bad people. Right. It's that they're a different frequency, vibration, energy level around, in this case, personal development. And if you're around, well, I think it was Jim Rohn that said we're the average of the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So your environment can bring you down. When you're around, contrast that to being in collaborating with people and being in a community of high vibe people that are pushing their own boundaries, people that are facing their own, doubts and worries and scares about new career chapters or whatever, but we're still in it together, then mm-hmm. we are way more supportive and we call each other's BS out and we cheer each other on and celebrate. That's so important. Yes. Because that old programming, again, self-image and beliefs, that old programming can pull you right back to where you were before, time and time again.
Yes. So
the collaboration community is such an important one. And then the last chapter is, they're all important, but it's celebration. I love it.
Okay.
Right? High five, high vibe. It's so important. I teach my clients every night, just stop for a few minutes and go, what can I celebrate about what happened today? Yes. Personally or professionally, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm not sure anything really happened. Yes, it did. Look for it. There's always, always, always something you can celebrate. Maybe somebody smiled at you in the Starbucks line. I don't know, right? Find something. There's always something to celebrate, and it shifts. You can't be frustrated and pissed off and celebrate at the same time. You can't. It's impossible. Right. So celebration, and that's where I said there's no quick fixes, but there's a lot of quick wins.
Yes.
When you celebrate, and you're in the habit of celebrating, it just lifts the spirit, and that provides when you're on a higher vibration, it's just a higher energy level, right? Mm-hmm. You're way more productive. How productive do you feel when you're frustrated and discouraged? And
Not very.
Not very at
all.
No.
Yeah,
no.
And there's a big concept, quick wins and things like that. My father actually is one of the practitioners of this, that he builds tiny wins into his morning before he sits down to write.
Love it.
So just little It's like I'm gonna do 5 minutes of stretching. Well, great. Now I've done that. Check that off the list. Got my clothes on. I said my prayer. I did my thing. And just little things like, okay, check, done, done. And now I'm feeling kind of ready to take on the day, powerful, ready to do it. Those little things, even to say, I made my bed, right? Yep. Which is, there's that whole book, if you want to change the world, start by making your bed. But that's a win for people who don't usually do that. and once it becomes a habit, it's still a win because it
is a win.
And it's got a huge reward at the end of the day when you crawl into that beautifully freshly made bed. Yeah,
who's that? General Mikalski? Anyway, there's a great video on YouTube. Like, make your bed.
Right, make your bed. It's back there somewhere.
Yeah, that's great. Love it. But it is important. You know what? Your morning routine. I mean, all successful people have great morning routines. They all differ, but they're nevertheless very grounding and a great way to start your day.
Yes, and that's, I think there's those little habits, those little things that those do tip the balance. Starting to add those things in, it's the weight of all those decisions together that start to make progress, it seems to me. Just that little bit, and kind of slowly tipping toward an upward trajectory. Accelerates. I mean, it compounds. It compounds.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Darren Hardy's got a great book, The Compound Effect, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we're kind of coming to the end here. I hope that folks have enjoyed this, but I have a couple of questions I try to ask every single person on this show. The first is, what do you think is the biggest fallacy it seems like everybody buys into? These questions can be general or very specific to your area. Doesn't matter. You could talk about any area you want to talk about. But what is the biggest fallacy everybody buys into? What's tremendously overrated?
Specific to my business, but it happened to me as well. There's a fallacy that I got it, that I can do it on my own.
Yes.
Right? That's so wrong. All successful people will tell you I could never have done it on my own. Right. You talk to any highly successful person, and you can't do it on your own. And yet the ego gets in the way.
Sure.
Right? And it did for me. It's like, I can do this. I should be able to figure this out.
Yep.
Because intellectually you get it, right? So of course I should be able to figure it out. We don't ask for help. Asking for help is there.
Heaven forbid we ask for help.
That there's a tied-in fallacy there, right? That is bad, wrong, whatever, to ask for help. Yeah. No, ask for help. We are better together. We're way stronger together. So I don't know whether that's what you're looking for, but
that's perfect. No, I mean, there is and I think it's because it's in the popular literature, the culture of wanting to be self-made people, the kind of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I did it all myself. I triumphed over the world and won. And although those stories are appealing because we seem to like them and we've heard a lot of them and the Horatio Alger stuff, they just don't happen that often. And there are exceptions to the rule. The rule is generally that there's a lot of people along the way who helped make things possible, and you need those people.
And people want to help.
And people want to help.
There's a fallacy. Oh, nobody wants to help me. No.
Yes.
People want to help.
Yes, of course.
I believe it's in our DNA. We can have a lot of stupid programming overlaying that DNA, but I think it's in our DNA to help. So
yes. So conversely, what is the most underrated concept?
I think what's people underrate, misunderstand personal development. It's not magical woo-woo stuff. There's actual science backing up why we're saying first you do this and then you do that. It's vastly underrated that it's just feel-good stuff. It's just based on magical woo-woo. No, there's an actual science behind it.
And we've got more than 100 years of science that go behind it, and research.
Absolutely.
And because this stuff isn't actually
intense
all that new.
Research.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's not new. It dates back a couple hundred years, some of these concepts. Right. Yeah. But there's so much supporting it. So don't go in thinking, oh yeah, it's that person. No, take a good hard look at it if you are serious about changing the trajectory of your path to success.
There you go. There you go. Sandy, thank you so much for joining me. Folks, if you want to know more about Sandy's teachings, check out her best-selling book, Navigating the High Seas to Success, available on Amazon and at inspireddestinies.com. Follow her on social media. Links to everything are in the show notes as always. And until next time, I'm Andrew Wallace, and we don't have a problem. We've got an opportunity. Thank you.